You're watching the final round of the 1998 World Rally Championship, held on the roads of Great Britain. Finnish rally driver Tommi Mäkinen and his Group A Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution are racing toward his third championship title, a title he'd been battling for all season against newer, more advanced WRC class machines, including the Subaru Impreza driven by Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz Sr.'s Toyota Corolla. However, heading into the final round at Rally Great Britain, Mäkinen and his Lancer once again led the championship, holding a 2-point advantage over Sainz. But then, disaster strikes. Early in the rally, Tommi slides on an oil patch, loses control, and slams into a concrete block. The impact tears a wheel off the Lancer, yet he still tries to drag his wounded Evolution to the service park. Unfortunately, on a road section, the police stops him. After all, even champions aren't allowed to drive a 3-wheeled Lancer. It seemed like the chase for the title was over, and the once invincible Mitsubishi was destined to become history. A legendary Lancer, crowned by Evolution. What had he been racing for all these years? Today, we'll explore what made him legendary. Mitsubishi's rally history goes back to 1974, when the Lancer participated in the legendary Kenyan Safari Rally. The classic Safari was a grueling survival marathon, covering 5,000 kilometers of harsh African roads, about the same distance as the modern Dakar Rally. And the crews weren't driving off-road vehicles, but rather modified, reinforced, yet still standard sedans. The car you see now is the Mitsubishi Lancer 1600 GSR of the first generation. A simple, durable, and lightweight sedan with rear-wheel drive and a 160-horsepower engine. Behind the wheel was Joginder Singh, a Kenyan of Indian descent, who knew the local roads better than anyone, having already won the Safari in 1965 with his brother. The 1974 rally followed the same rules as in the 1960s, where the winner was determined not by pure speed, but by the ability to navigate the terrain, maintain a steady pace, and avoid being late to time control points. As a result, the simple and reliable Lancer, driven by an experienced crew, easily outpaced Porsche, Peugeot, Datsun, Lancia, and Alfa Romeo in the standings, ultimately securing its first victory in the World Rally Championship. 2 years later, in 1976, the Japanese, along with the Lancer and Joginder Singh, repeated their success, outpacing, among others, the engineering marvel of the time, the elegant Lancia Stratos with the Ferrari engine. Japanese reliability on African roads proved to be far more valuable than Italian elegance. Moreover, the Lancer crew swept the entire podium that year. Kenyan Robin Oliate finished second, while Scott Andrew Cowan took third, a man who would later play an important role in the future of Mitsubishi rally cars. The 1980s in rallying were dominated by the mighty Group B, but Mitsubishi was not involved in these battles. Instead, the company focused on preparing for future success. Andrew Cowan, a former Mitsubishi factory driver who had raced the first Lancers, founded Rallyart in the UK. This team, Mitsubishi Rallyart Europe, was responsible for building all the factory Mitsubishi cars that competed in the World Rally Championship from 1989 onwards. And they didn't just compete, they won. In their first season of 1989, they took 2 victories, in Finland and the UK. In the 90, 91, and 92 seasons, they won once each. Though it's worth noting that not all the top teams participated in every round back then. In any case, the 6th generation Mitsubishi Galant was an incredibly stylish car, though perhaps a bit too unwieldy for rallying. Mitsubishi understood this as well, which is why they returned to the more compact Lancer in 1993. As I've mentioned in previous videos, manufacturers were required by the rules of that time to produce and sell road versions of their cars. Initially, this requirement was set at 5,000 units. but after 1993, it was reduced to 2,500. This led to the creation of the beloved road-going Lancer Evolution models, sporty sedans with turbocharged engines and an all-wheel drive. Each new Evo version wasn't just faster, better, and more comfortable. It also incorporated the ideas and requirements of Rallyart engineers, who had to transform the road version into a rally car. Such close collaboration paid off. In 1995, Swedish driver Kenneth Eriksson secured wins in Sweden and Australia, breaking Subaru Impreza's dominance. But this was only the beginning of Mitsubishi's most successful era. In 1996, the team was represented by 32-year-old Finnish driver Tommi Mäkinen, who had just one victory to his name at that point. That year, Mitsubishi introduced the third evolution of the Lancer, the final, perfected version of the first-generation platform. The team decided to compete in every round for the first time, placing their trust in Mäkinen, and it paid off. Under the control of the Flying Finn, the Lancer became a formidable weapon. Victories in snowy Sweden, iconic Kenya, Argentina, Finland, and Australia, and a championship title at the end of the season. While Subaru took the Manufacturers' Cup, it's unlikely Mitsubishi was too disappointed. What truly could have disappointed them was the change in World Rally Championship regulations. Group A cars were replaced by the new World Rally Car class, or WRC for short, which allowed for nearly any model to be used without the need for homologating a production version and producing 2,500 units. On paper, WRC cars were faster than the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution and far better equipped for racing. They featured longer suspension travel, improved weight distribution, wider wheel arches, and more advanced aerodynamics. Over time, they also incorporated semi-automatic gearboxes, electronically controlled differentials, and other costly technologies. Mitsubishi chose not to build their own World Rally car and stayed true to their Group A machine, especially since the International Automobile Federation allowed it at the time. And that turned out to be the right decision. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 4, based on a new platform and representing an updated generation, was not only fast, but also far more reliable than the World Rally cars, which were still plagued by teething issues. A victory at the Catalunya Rally showed that the car performed excellently not only on gravel, but also on tarmac, where chassis setup and suspension efficiency played a crucial role. Over the season, Mäkinen won 4 times, while his main rival, Colin McRae, won 5. However, McRae had 6 retirements, compared to 4 for Mäkinen. Colin fought like a lion, winning the last 3 rounds of the season, but ultimately lost the title to Mäkinen by just 1 point. The 1998 season started strongly for Mitsubishi drivers with last year's cars. At the 5th round in Catalunya, the new Lancer Evolution 5 made its debut. Its main improvement was the increased track width. That year, Tommi faced a new rival, Toyota, which returned to rallying after the disqualification of its illegal Celica and introduced the new WRC car, the Toyota Corolla. While not the fastest at first, the Corolla proved to be highly reliable. Carlos Sainz consistently earned points, reached the podium, and won 2 rounds. This was enough to reach the final round of the championship, only 2 points behind Mäkinen. But as you already know, Tommi crashed his Lancer early on.
We can just wait and follow what is going on.
Carlos Sainz was driving on the track behind Tommi, but the marshals managed to warn him about an oil patch. It's hard to say what Sainz was thinking when he overtook Mäkinen's damaged Lancer. To clinch the championship, it was enough for Carlos to finish 4th, and he was well on his way to doing just that.
Can you be relaxed?
Yes, I think so.
However, what happened next became one of the most dramatic moments in World Rally Championship history. Just 300 meters from the finish on the final special stage, on the last day of the rally, Carlos Sainz's Toyota suddenly came to a stop. The crew desperately tried to restart the car, but to no avail. In a fit of rage, co-driver Luis Moya smashed the Corolla's rear window with his helmet. Already at the hotel, resigned to his defeat, Mäkinen suddenly learns he's world champion once again.
Carlos' car is get the fire and he's standing here. He can't. He's just 300 meters before the end. And I said, no, don't be joking. It's a bit too serious.
Meanwhile, his young teammate, Richard Burns, claimed victory, his second win of the season. In 1999, competition in the WRC intensified with the emergence of strong contenders like Ford and Peugeot. WRC-class cars had become more refined and competitive, prompting teams to seek new ways to enhance their machines. Despite this, Mitsubishi continued to compete with a Group A car, further developing the Lancer Evolution. Mäkinen kicked off the '99 season with a victory and went on to secure his fourth world title. This success was aided by McRae's new Ford Focus suffering from reliability issues, Toyota's lack of speed, and Subaru's questionable team strategy, which saw their drivers taking points from each other. But the results speak for themselves. A car built to the previous generation's regulations still managed to beat more advanced, rally-specialized competitors. So how did Mitsubishi and Tommi Mäkinen consistently win titles with the outdated Lancer Evolution, especially in years when the championship featured the maximum number of top drivers? The answer lies in two key factors. Firstly, Mitsubishi updated the Evolution every year, and the 1999 championship was won with the sixth version of the Evolution. However, it wasn't just about that. Alongside their talented designers and engineers, Mitsubishi also had skilled politicians. Through constant negotiations with the International Automobile Federation, including threats to withdraw the factory team from rallying, they secured key concessions that allowed them to modernize the car beyond the limits of the now-defunct Group A regulations. These included increasing suspension travel by 25 millimeters to match WRC cars and enlarging aerodynamic components to bring the car up to the level of its competitors. In fact, the latest versions of the Lancer were only slightly behind WRC cars in terms of specifications. Although they had some limitations due to their base design, they were fully capable of competing on equal footing with newer World Rally cars and even beating them. The upgraded versions of the car continued to compete and win in the World Championship until 2001, when Mäkinen secured 3 victories with the Evolution 6.5. He achieved this against the super-fast Peugeot 206 WRC and a completely new generation of Impreza. In a dramatic battle with Carlos Sainz, Mäkinen won the Rally of Portugal by just 8 seconds on the final special stage. More notably, he triumphed in the iconic Safari Rally in Kenya, a landmark event for the Lancer. Ironically, it all came full circle as this became Mitsubishi's final win. Before the new season began, the International Automobile Federation required Mitsubishi to build a car according to WRC class regulations, which debuted at the San Remo Rally. However, the results were disappointing. The new Lancer WRC was underdeveloped, slow, and unreliable. Tommi Mäkinen left the team, and without him, Mitsubishi failed to achieve anything notable. The team even skipped the 2003 season to develop a more effective car from scratch for 2004. The final versions of the Lancer WRC, with their Lancer Sedia design and uniquely positioned rear wing, were eye-catching and unconventional, but they never won a single rally. After the 2005 championship, Mitsubishi stepped away from the World Rally Championship, and 10 years later, it discontinued the production of road versions. The Lancer Evolution experienced an era of fierce competition in the WRC, leaving a lasting legacy. Although the Evolution name has long since vanished from Mitsubishi's lineup, its spirit continues to live in the hearts of fans. While the Lancer era's ended, its legacy remains, inspiring future generations of drivers and rally enthusiasts worldwide.